Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take your stack of information and turn it into knowledge that really sticks. Today, our mission is pretty laser focused on enterprise growth, specifically for those companies in that $10 to $200 million annual revenue sweet spot. We are unpacking a highly effective, almost, stealthy strategy for driving massive revenue without ever asking the client to rip out their expensive systems.
Right. It's the art of the strategic supplement. We're diving into how you can leverage a flexible platform like high-level or GHL, not to replace a core system, but to act as this precision tool. The entire philosophy is built around finding and filling what we call the procedural gaps.
Okay, that term procedural gap, I think we need a concrete example right out of the gate because that sounds like the key.
It is. So we're hunting for the point where the big, expensive, tailor-made system, say a Salesforce or a HubSpot, it just gives up. Like a lead comes in, they ask for a quote, but they balk at the price. The enterprise CRM logs that as deal lost price, and that's it. It moves on.
Just a dead end.
Exactly. The procedural gap is the failure to automate a simple, non-salesy follow-up 60 days later. Just to check if their needs have changed. That gap is where tens of thousands of dollars are just hiding.
So it's the point of inertia. And the return on fixing that inertia sounds, well, staggering. We have a blueprint today from a campaign that targeted exactly those missed opportunities. It generated $32,087 in a single month on a total spend of less than $500.
And that's where the numbers get truly compelling, right? That's a return of $72 for every single dollar spent. And look, that's the kind of ROI that shifts your relationship with a client from, cost center to essential partner.
Okay, let's unpack this. We have to start with the core philosophy you mentioned. Supplement, don't replace. For anyone out there who has fought that battle, trying to justify a full CRM overhaul, you know why this is so critical.
Oh, it's a very, very uphill battle.
If you
Think about the scale of commitment. These enterprise clients, they've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars.
sometimes.
Millions. Not just on the software, but on manpower, consultants, tailoring systems like Job Nimbus or Salesforce. They are deeply structurally committed.
And because of that, the pitch to migrate is just an automatic no. I think our sources quote Adam McGinnis on this.
Yes, and he puts it plainly. He says, when you try to sell a service to somebody that's already using a tailor-made system for their industry, you're going to lose 100% of the time.
100%.
You hit a financial and a political wall immediately.
Mm.
So you have to change the game. We position GHL not as the challenger, but as this highly specialized enhancement tool.
I love the analogy that was used in the source materials. Like, if those big systems like HubSpot are the iPhone, closed, rigid, powerful, but only in the way it dictates, then GHL is the Android. It's the blank slate. I think it was Richard Worley who said its bare bones nature is not a bug, it's a feature.
It's more than a feature. It's a huge advantage. It's unburdened. It doesn't have all that legacy enterprise baggage, which means you can deploy a simple tax campaign lightning fast. You're using it to build one hyper-specific solution to one hyper-specific problem.
So we're embracing the path of least resistance. By focusing only on supplementing, the whole sales proposition becomes radically simpler, doesn't it?
Totally. You're not asking them to make this massive, disruptive, scary decision.
You're just saying, keep your whole operation running, we're just going to install a little revenue tap on the side.
That is the strategic difference. And this brings up a really key warning for anyone trying this. You have to avoid the hammer and nail trap.
Meaning you can't just think GHL for everything.
Exactly. You fail if you do that.
Yeah.
You have to collaborate. You have to treat GHL as the enhancer, not the competitor.
Okay, so if the path of least resistance means we never try to replace the core system, then who exactly is the ideal client for this? Let's talk about the target avatar.
We are absolutely targeting scale, the big fish. The sweet spot is established multi-location companies, annual revenues between, say, $10 million and $200 million.
Why that specific range, though? Why not the smaller owner-operator? I mean, they certainly need better systems.
It really boils down to leverage and capital. First, these bigger companies have structural problems. They move slower, and those procedural gaps we talked about are costing them huge, identifiable amounts of money. And second, they just have the resources to pay for high-ticket solutions. We're talking contracts in the $50,000 to $150,000 per year range.
And a fee that size. It doesn't even register as a risk when you compare it to the revenue they're losing.
Precisely. If you can prove you recovered $500,000 in revenue that they would have missed otherwise, your $100,000 solution becomes an automatic, necessary expense. Honestly, selling a small business owner a $300 monthly subscription is often a harder conversation.
And GHL is built for creating these high-impact, big-ticket solutions. Okay, so when you approach these big clients, you can't just talk about the problem. You have to deliver an easy win, right, to build that trust.
Database reactivation. It is consistently the fastest, most effective entry point. It is, and I quote, the easiest, quickest money that you can make for a company.
And the reason for that is pretty foundational, isn't it? You're reaching out to warm leads who already knew the company, they showed intent, but the deal just fell through because of some simple breakdown.
A missed call, a slow follow-up, an inventory shortage, whatever, you don't have to spend a dime on acquisition. You get immediate, measurable results, usually within the first 30 days. And that instant ROI, that solidifies your position.
Yeah.
You go from being a vendor to an essential utility, and that paves the way for the more complex work later.
Let's get into the blueprint then, how this works in practice. Our case study is an equipment rental company, 30 to 50 locations. They were heavily invested in HubSpot for sales, and they had this sophisticated internal ERP system for inventory and logistics.
Yeah, and understanding the ERP is key here. The ERP is their backbone. It's the official source of truth. It's the absolute last thing they would ever change. And their mandate to the agency was crystal clear. We only work in HubSpot.
So the first job was just identifying the holes in that expensive structure, and they found two huge problems. What was the first one?
A high volume of missed rentals. Inbound inquiries were just failing because, the product was priced too high, or more often, the specific item was just unavailable at that moment. The ERP logs it, HubSpot ignores it, and poof,
Yeah.
the money's gone.
And the second problem was their existing growth strategy, which was just incredibly expensive. They were trying to hire their way out of the problem.
Right. Their main method for new revenue was hiring more sales reps.
Mhm.
That means an annual cost of $100,000 to $120,000 per person, not including benefits, training, all of that.
Wow.
Just the payroll tax and onboarding for one salesperson already buys half of your high-ticket automated solution.
So the GHL solution had to solve the missed money problem without the expensive staff problem, and crucially, without messing with their core systems.
The key was zero disruption. That was it. The people on the ground, the branch-level employees, they continue using their ERP and HubSpot exactly as they did before. They don't even know that GHL exists.
It's totally in the background.
Completely. GHL just operates behind the scenes, identifying, nurturing, and qualifying all those missed leads.
And the integration piece here is vital. How does GHL talk to their system without friction?
It uses integration points like webhooks. So when GHL qualifies a lead, turns a cold follow-up into a hot opportunity, that information gets passed via webhook directly into HubSpot.
So for anyone listening, a webhook is basically just an automated one-way memo that says, hey, HubSpot, this lead's ready. Here's all the data.
That's it. Zero manual intervention. Zero disruption to the sales team's exact workflow.
Beyond that seamless integration, there was a massive cost-saving benefit here that really solidified the value even before they generated a dime in new revenue.
Absolutely. The specialized marketing stuff the agency built using GHL, specifically the dynamic messaging and tracking, that would have cost the client an extra $30,000 a year if they tried to buy it from HubSpot.
So by using GHL, the agency saved them, over 26 grand a year while still running a profitable contract.
It was a clear, instant win-win.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. The workflows themselves. I think we're often tempted to over-engineer things, but the sources stress that simplicity is what drives profit here. What did that core workflow actually look like?
It was a simple, straight-line automation built on text messages. That's it. And the messaging was tailored based on why the deal was lost in the first place. So if it was lost because of price, the message went out 2 weeks later offering a promotion. If it was lost due to inventory, the message asked, hey, are you still looking for that piece of equipment next month?
So the system's just doing the heavy lifting. It's turning an old failure point into a series of automated, personalized check-ins.
Precisely. And every step of this workflow was creating pipeline opportunities, and, this is important, it was pushing raw data to a Google Sheet for real-time tracking.
But the truly brilliant part, the thing that makes this whole model work, was the internal workflow. They called it the relentless follow-up.
Yes.
And this wasn't about the customer. It was about forcing accountability inside the client's own company.
Data integrity is everything. The biggest risk in this whole strategy is the client's own failure to report back on the successes. So the relentless follow-up turned GHL into a governance tool. When a branch got a hot lead from the GHL sequence, the internal workflow sent notifications to the staff every 3 hours until they completed a simple form.
What was on that form?
Just the key details.
Yeah.
Was the deal won or lost? And if won, the specific revenue amount. This is vital. If the staff failed to respond, the notifications got escalated to the regional managers.
So GHL was essentially forcing the client's own team to close the loop and report the success of the system.
It removes all ambiguity. You ensure that every single dollar generated is accurately attributed back to your platform.
And that's what you need for ROI justification and contract renewal.
Exactly. Which means the imperative of crystal clear reporting isn't just about transparency. It's a sales tool for contract expansion.
You can't be a supplemental revenue driver if you can't prove the revenue.
Right. And the agency made the reporting stupid easy, as the source put it. They push real-time data from GHL into a Google Sheet using simple integrations. Then they use formulas, often with help from AI tools like ChatGPT, to automatically crunch the numbers.
Let's focus on those metrics for a second. They weren't just vanity metrics, were they?
No, they needed granular location-level data. So they tracked the number of people contacted per location, the number of replies, the number of opt-outs, and this is critical. They tracked the positive response rate, and they benchmarked it against the opt-out rate.
Why is that so important?
Because if your positive reply rate equals or exceeds your opt-out rate, you've just proven your messaging is highly effective and not damaging their brand.
That makes perfect sense. It addresses the big risk, right?
Right.
What else did they track?
All the financial metrics, number of deals quoted, number of deals won, total actual revenue generated, and total revenue opportunity, which included the quotes likely to close.
And that level of detail is what lets them go back and confidently demand a contract expansion.
It's everything.
Which brings us back to those incredible results from that single month. Across just the initial 13 pilot locations, let's just state those hard numbers again.
Okay, so the campaign generated $32,087 in verifiable revenue. The total spend, including GHL costs and everything, was $446.23.
Which works out to a hard ROI of $72 for every dollar spent.
And if you factored in the quotes that were almost certain to close, that ROI climbed all the way up to $124 per dollar spent.
Wait, a $72 ROI? It sounds almost too good. Is there a catch? Do they ever worry that this simple, effective system just reveals how inefficient their $500,000 ERP is?
See, the elegance is that they don't care about the ERP's inefficiency. They only care that their branch managers are making more money. The system is non-disruptive, it's profitable, and the client sees the results in their own HubSpot dashboard.
So they see the money coming in.
They see the money, they see the immediate cost savings on the HubSpot feature they didn't have to buy, and they see the return. The only catch is internal. Can you maintain that relentless follow-up to keep your own data accurate?
And that data is the silver bullet for growth. You go to the client and say, we just made you 32 grand from 13 of your locations. You have 30 more.
And that justification turns an initial success into a guaranteed scale-up. It's the business case to roll the service out everywhere else, turning the whole thing into a potential seven-figure impact.
This has been an incredibly detailed deep dive. Let's review the 5 key principles that made this whole thing work.
Okay, 1, you have to find holes. The specific procedural gaps, not the core system failures. 2, prioritize easy wins. So start with database reactivation to build that instant, verifiable trust. 3, embrace simplicity. Simple, straight-line workflows are often the most profitable.
4, master workflows for data. Using those automations not just for customers, but for strict internal data gathering to ensure you have clear reporting.
And finally, the highest strategic principle. Sell solutions, not software. The enterprise is buying a solution to lost revenue. The specific tool, GHL, a spreadsheet, whatever.
Yeah.
It's entirely secondary.
And that really is the most surprising detail here. The client, this massive enterprise company, is successfully generating tens of thousands of dollars in revenue from a platform that their own staff doesn't even know exists. The CEO doesn't need to log into it. The software is just the non-disruptive mechanism.
It's the ultimate surgical strike against revenue loss.
So here's the final provocative thought for you to chew on. If we saw that the automated recovery of simple missed rentals generated tens of thousands of dollars immediately, what specific non-disruptive procedural gap, the one no one is looking at because they're focused on the massive system overhaul, is currently costing you thousands in lost revenue? That neglected gap is likely your easiest, fastest path to massive ROI.
Think about the cost of that assumption.
Thank you for joining us for the deep dive. We'll catch you on the next one.